Hey, so these two problems, this first one I have written here is number 10 from the Around the Room, and then the second one down here is number 129 from the homework. We actually have to do these problems two different ways, even though they look like it's the same exact setup, but there's a huge difference in the two problems. So it's really important to understand what the variables stand for, so you know like what you're plugging, which letter you're plugging the number into. For instance, on number 10 on the Around the Room, they're telling you, or they're asking how many villagers after 24 days. Well, t is number of days. So on this one, they're actually giving you the number to plug in for t. So for this first one, I would plug 24 in for t, so I'm not actually finding t. And then what happens is on the right side here, you'll notice this is all numbers. These are all numbers, including the E on bottom. And so you can just enter all this in your calculator and then end up getting your answer that way. I would highly encourage that you enter this in your calculator to make sure you get the right answer, because there's a lot of kids that will set this up correctly, but then enter it wrong. What I would do, if you want to enter it all at once, just make sure you put the entire denominator in parentheses. Otherwise, it'll do some PEMDAS errors with your calculator. So, or you could kind of do it bit by bit. But if you do this in your calculator and you can't get the right answer, email me, and then I'll kind of walk you through it. Now, the second one is a little different. It's a little tougher. So this is 129 from the homework. It says n is the number of words per minute, and they're telling you it's 45 words per minute. Basically, the problem is giving you n, not t. So we need to plug 45 in for n right here, so we have to tackle this problem differently. So I plug 45 in for n. Okay, now in this one, we're solving for t. We're solving for that exponent, which means anytime we're solving for an exponent, logs are probably going to enter the picture. So to tackle this one, we need to multiply both sides by this entire denominator here. Both sides by this entire denominator. So I'd multiply both sides by 1 plus 5.4 e to the negative 0.24t. And that's going to get rid of our fraction. Like that whole thing here and that whole thing there are going to go away. So on the left side, I'm basically just moving that denominator up to the left side. So that's step one. Now our goal, what we're trying to accomplish, we're trying to get this e to the negative 0.24 by itself. Because once we get that by itself, then we can use logs to solve. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. If it were me personally, I would divide both sides by 45 to get rid of it. You could distribute the 45 in the parentheses. You could do this either way. But I'm going to divide both sides by 45. And so then I would just have 1 plus 5.4 e to the negative 0.24t equals, and that is 1.3777, repeating. And I'm still trying to get e to the negative 0.24t by itself. So now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And I just do that in my calculator. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 5.4. So I'm subtracting 1, and then I'm dividing by 5.4. And when I do that in my calculator, I get e to the negative 0.24t equals 0.0699588. Now that I've gotten the e to the exponent by itself, well, this is why logs are a thing. They solve for exponents. So I'm going to switch this to log form. I'm at a point where I'm stuck, and I'm going to switch it to log form. So it'd be log base e, but instead of writing log base e, I'm going to write ln instead, because that means log base e. And then the exponent goes on the other side of the equal sign. And the 0.0699, that number goes inside the log. Once you switch the form, then you get your calculator ready, because this, you just enter in your calculator and it's going to give you a number. It'll say negative 2.65985. And then divide both sides by negative 0.24, and you get your answer. So it's going to take that many weeks. So just the main thing is understanding the difference in what letter you're plugging the thing in for that they give you. And that's just understanding the setup of the problem and how they define the letters in the setup. So the first one, they were giving you t, and so everything on the right side was numbers, and you just enter in your calculator. The second one, you're solving for that exponent, and it's a little tougher of a process. Let me know if that helps, and if you have any other questions.